Now, what we could do for each team captain, what you can do is you can put, why don't you use the search bar in the top left-hand corner and put in maybe your address, your friend's address, an address of a location like the CN Tower here in Toronto, or maybe your school or the shopping mall. Why don't you put that in the top left-hand corner? I'm going to put the CN Tower for myself.
Sure. Sure.
But don't do that. I'm using the CN Tower, which means you have to pick something else. You got to pick, be creative with it. And I'm adding a marker.
So if you're looking for the ENSS address, it's 71 Dundas Street. Thank you. In Brighton with the postal code KOK 1HO.
You'll see if it already has it in there. So 71, it was, what was it again? 71?
Dundas Street.
And I can see it's at the very end right here. So I click on that and I'm going to go to add marker. And our marker I had is in this folder. So I'm just going to actually drag and drop that pin outside the folder. And then what we can do now is we can use our advanced operations. We can do a radius around here. And we can try to find out how many different schools are within a certain radius of 71 Dundas Street. So what I can do is I'll go to operations and analysis right here. And it's always going to be at the last menu we were at before. So let's go back to the main menu. I'm going to go to create. I'm going to go to create a circle. Create circle at point, or sorry, at marker. So create circle at marker. Click on that. It's going to take a second here to find it. So I'm going to select the marker. I'm going to find the marker. I'm going to go select 71 Dundas Street. And what kind of radius do you want to do around there?
How many kilometers?
Or we could do feet, we could do yards, we could do miles, we could do meters. Let's do kilometers.
20?
20?
20 sounds good.
So we'll go 20. So we did a 20-kilometer radius around your center there. You can zoom out and see that. Now we can do a count of all the different types of schools within this circle. Again, going into our operations menu right here. So I can go operations analysis. Let's go back to the main menu. And then I can do aggregate data. So aggregate, and then I'm going to go count markers and polygon. So there. It's taking a second because there's a lot of data here. So select that polygon. Where is it? It's in the public school folder. I forgot to drag it out of that folder, but click on that. And then we can do a total count if we want, or we can do a count based off of the folder that we have as well. So I can go count in public or Catholic. So I'm going to stop here. And for you, on the other end, I wanted you to tell me how many Catholic schools are within a 20-kilometer radius to your location, and then also tell me how many public schools are within that circle as well. Now, if any of you are already at this step, have any of you discovered any other patterns just looking at this map? Looking at the Catholic schools, looking at the public schools, and then looking at the area around it as well. What are some stories that we could be telling here? What are some patterns?
Okay, we have a question for you.
Yep.
So when we go to do the operations and analysis,
Yep.
and it comes up to create the circle.
Yep.
It says multiple. Do we keep multiple checked or unchecked?
Your circle was there. It was just a little dark. So from there now, using the same operations, we'll go into operations and analysis, that gearbox. And I'll share my screen again for you so everyone can see. And I'm going to operations here. And we're going to go to aggregate data, and we're going to go count the markers in the polygon. So we're going to click on that. And we're going to find that circle. Remember, it might be in the folder. And count and group, I'm going to go count public and then count Catholic. So tell me how many Catholic schools are within a 20-kilometer range and how many public schools are within a 20-kilometer range. And then when we're doing this, also think of other challenges or other ways we can analyze this data using some of these types of tools as well.
Do we want to go over it again, how you find and have it calculate it itself?
Yep.
Rather than going in and counting all the dots, you can use that operators and analysis, go to aggregate data, and then count markers in polygon.
So we'll go markers in polygon. So we have our map right here. And we're going to go to aggregate data. So this gearbox right here. And if you're at this menu, yeah, you see something like this, just go to back to main menu. And then aggregate data, count. We're going to do markers in polygon. Select the polygon, which is the circle. So it's just polygon shape. And then we're going to count public, and then we're going to count Catholic. Has anybody been able to tell me how many Catholic schools are within a 20-kilometer radius to that pin?
7 Catholic. Okay, and you got 72, but you have a marker in Hamilton, you said? That's why. So that'll be a much denser area. So there's a lot more schools in a smaller radius, I suspect. 72. Wow.
And then what about for public? So you had 7 for...
Sorry?
I have 18,
18.
within 71. And then
3.
with Catholic, or that's public. And then I have 7, yep.
And then you guys got same numbers?
Excellent. So now let's try to combine everything we've kind of learned thus far. So what I'd like you to do now, keep your circle the way you have it, but let's put in a new filter And you can base this filter off of any attribute. So we're going to go, we could do first language is not English, first language is English, identified as gifted, children who live in low income, percentage who are new to Canada. So I'm going to go, let's put first language is not English. I'm going to go is unique. And I'm going to go, let's find, I'm going to go 14% of the language is not English. I'm going to go save. And then, oh, last thing I'm going to do, I forgot to do here, turn that filter off. I'm going to put a lock. This is very important. Put a lock on your circle. So if you go in the right-hand side, what that lock will do is when I put a filter on, it's not going to affect anything. And I can see that 14% of people whose language is not English, none of that lands within a 20-kilometer radius from my point. But do you see what I'm kind of doing here? I want you to take any kind of filter based off of any of those attributes and see if that lands within your circle.
So choose anything that you want to look at. Don't necessarily do this one. See if you can find something that falls within the circle. What was your, what did you search for? What did you filter on? One, what's right? Okay. Okay, and did you do the same thing about, okay. Okay, so we do have a group that did the same search as you, and they had one school that popped up in Waterdown. They were the school.
Oh, cool.
That had their dot was in Hamilton, or their circle.
So you had within your 20 kilometers, you have a school that has, what we say, 14% of the students at that school language or English is not their first language. Now, is there a high immigration, a lot of newcomers to Canada and around that area? Is it a very diverse part of the city?
Honestly, I would have suspected that Waterdown would not be. It's kind of a rural population, so I don't know. It must perhaps have some influx of people, but I don't know. I had the girl I lived in university with was from Waterdown, and that's my only frame of reference.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think it was a diverse population, but that area has grown a lot.
So there you go. We're learning something right now. Now I'm sure if we put that up to 50%, in fact, I'm curious right now, I'm going to go and put this filter, and we're not going to ignore the circle right now. And if you can beat me to it, let's go to the highest percentage of where English isn't the first language and try to find out where on the map that is, and see if you can beat me to that as well. So I'm going to go to add filter. I'm going to go add condition. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go language is not English. Is, and I'm going to go unique again. Let's go, what's the highest percentage point we have here? Well, it could be 100.
I don't think you'd find anything there.
We might not. Well, if it is unique, that there is a school that has 100%.
Well, yeah, a French school
Maybe. Let's take a look. So I'm going to go save. I'm zooming out. I don't even, oh, up near Ottawa. So I think you're kind of correct, because what's near Ottawa? What's right across the border here?
Quebec.
Quebec. So we have 7 Catholic schools and 1 public school. Let's click on one of the pins as well. And you are right with this, the 100% part. that we're seeing, they're French language schools. And they're all near Montreal. And they're also, the majority of them, Catholic as well. Now, for my history students, would anyone know why there would be more Catholic schools that are also French schools as well? I don't know if you've covered that in history. Does anyone know?
You're not getting very many answers, Sue.
So historically in Canada, Quebec used to be more Catholic. That would be the Catholic area. And then Toronto, where I'm in around right now, would be more Protestant as well. So there's actually a divide between the two provinces. So if we had the data for Catholic schools and we had Quebec, all of Quebec would be pretty lit up with a lot of Catholic schools. So that's why you would see, not only with this data that we're putting right here, these schools right here are French, but they also happen to be Catholic as well. That's relating to the history of the province of Quebec as well. So let's do one more while we're waiting. And you pick anything you want and you tell me what area has the most of those attributes. So it can be the gifted, it can be lower income. English is not a second language.
Did you guys do any searches within your area and find any bits of information that you can share with us? Okay, so there are 4 schools within a 20 kilometer radius of ENSS that have 20% of the students with special education needs.
Oh, wow. Very
So
interesting.
that's an interesting statistic for sure, right? It's nice. What I really like about this is that you don't have to have any questions or any information about a population. You can just start searching and actually kind of drive your own research, right?
Yep. And what you can do as well, so we've put all these this information to pins, but we could do that to polygons and shapes as well. So I'll show you a more advanced map where we have the big election coming up. I know everyone is excited. That's all you guys are talking about in high school is the election, the election, the election. And what we have right here is I have all the different ridings and the political parties. And I've applied filters to these different polygons, these shapes. So imagine your circles that you've created. You can create attributes on that. And I can go, show me where all the NDP is. And then I can show me where the leader is a woman and the population is over 100,000. And we have in around the Toronto and the GTA area. So that's also telling the story as well. So these are the different things that you can do. And how easy was that for everyone as well? So I've told Jonathan this before. I failed geography in grade 10. Now, I hope you don't follow the same footsteps and that you pass, but I now navigate through this mapping software because it's easy, but also for me, I'm the type of learner who is a visual learner, but also I need to have fun. If I don't have fun while I'm learning or while I'm doing these activities, I'm going to get bored and do something else. So it can be fun as well.